Hey everyone, this is John Barton from JB Cases. So I want to give you guys an update on what's going on with us, so we can explain the lead times and the shipping times and where we're at now. What is it now? 16, 17 months into the pandemic since it started. So as you know, some of you might know, back in March of 2020, things started to shut down. We were in the middle of a show, not in the middle, but we were like 4 days into a 10-day show, and they just closed the casino down and told us we had 12 hours to get out. And so we did that, and we haven't done a major show since then. We know that this year some of the shows are coming back out there to Vegas and some of the big tournaments. And unfortunately, we will not be able to attend because we do not have the capacity to make enough cases to stock a show, to make it worthwhile for us to go. I mean, we would love to go. We'd love to be out there and be part of it and having fun. But unfortunately, there are certain expenses that, we incur even before we get out there and we sell a single case. And for us, that's it's a pretty hard calculation. So one of those calculations is the shipping cost, because when we produce cases for a show, we generally will spend a lot of overtime above and beyond what we're spending on the normal operations to make custom orders and to make dealer orders. We will spend overtime to make enough cases to have a decent showing at the show. So one of the things I know that you guys who have gone to the shows and seen us out there is the amount of cases, the number of cases on our wall, the diversity and the sheer number of really cool cases that we're able to put out for these shows. Lots of limited editions, lots of unique cases, stuff that we really enjoy preparing for shows. That's just, something that we've become known for. So we can't really go out to a show with just a few cases, and so when I'm talking about a lot of cases, I'm talking about we go out to shows and we do like hundreds of cases, like 300 or 400 sometimes on the walls. And one thing you guys might not know about is that we are not a factory. So we don't have a mass production line. We don't, there's no literal throwing material in one end and out the other end pops a case. Our work is handwork for the most part. I mean, of course, we use some machinery in the work. We use obviously sewing machines, and we have a laser cutter that cuts parts, and we use a die press to stamp out parts, cut out parts by pressure, and so on. But we don't have an assembly line. Okay, there's our shop is basically the same as any other smaller shop that you could think of, just with more people. So one consequence of the pandemic has been that people have stayed inside. They have not spent their money going out, and they've had more time to think about things they want to buy, which includes our cases. So we have a designer online. We encourage people to use the designer and to, let their thoughts flow and create as many designs as they want, and then, go through them and refine it down until they've decided on exactly what they want. So it allows you to kind of sketch out what you imagine for a case, within the parameters of what we offer and what we can build. Well, one of the consequences of the pandemic has been an incredible rise in the purchasing of consumer goods that are ordered. And that includes our cases. So basically what I'm trying to say is that while we have not been able to attend the shows, our capacity has been taken up by custom orders. So our custom orders have effectively doubled. Whereas in March of last year, we were handling about 100 custom case orders at any given time. So just think about it like a pipeline or a river, and at any given time we're handling 100 cases. So we make 10 new orders come in, and so on, and that just flows kind of like that way. Well, we've more than doubled that now, or let's say the order volume has more than doubled, which means that each month, or every day really, we are now handling more than 200 custom case orders. Now that may taper off, as people start going out and spending more time away from their computers and so on, so they don't have time to sit down and do the designs, or don't want to take the time. But for now, what it means is that our production capacity, our capacity to make cases, is almost completely taken up by custom orders and dealer orders. So we do make cases for general sale, which we'll put on the wall, but what we've taken to doing is mostly selling those through an auction format, because we don't even have time. Like we used to get the cases in, then we would photograph them and we would set up a web page for that case, put it up online as an item for sale, and then someone would order it, and that's how it would go. And then because we make so many diverse cases though, we don't have a line, we don't have any standard models per se. So a lot of the times when we would get orders in, a lot of the cases that we're ordering in would be cases that we didn't even have pages for. So we'd have to spend the time to make those pages. Now, of course, it's easier if we get a black case in, 2x5 or something like that, and we can easily just go in and say, make the inventory +3 so that there's 3 in stock and ready for sale. So yes, that has not changed in that sense. But one of the things that sets us apart as a case company is the fact that we have a continual river of fresh and new designs and things like that, so that we're not always doing, just all black or red and black or black and green and things like that, basic staple cases. And we want to continue doing that. So that's why we don't want to drop that in favor of just always filling up our website with the same, 4 or 5 basic color patterns. So because of that, and because our inventory is really limited, we've gone to more or less an auction format for most of the cases that we sell. And that has helped us to replace the show revenue that we've had previously. But the downside is that we really have to kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel here, so to speak, in terms of labor hours that we can afford to spend on building cases for general sale. So it means that we just don't have the time to make all those cases. Now, that's part one of why the lead times are so much more now than they used to be on cases. Even cases that are just back ordered, normally if it was a black or, some basic case, it would take a couple weeks, we'd slip it in and bring it over. But now, even those orders, all those orders are 6, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, and so on. So that's the first issue, right? So many people think we have a factory. We don't have a factory. We have basically an oversized workshop. Okay, and it's a family-run business. Okay, so it's in China, and I know that China has a stigma to it for a lot of people. I want to mention, that I lived there for 7 years. I met my now wife in China. I started making cases again. Some of you know that I used to own a company called InStroke. I founded that company. I founded that brand. And in 2003, I got out of that company. I had by that time acquired partners, and there was, there's a little backstory to it. But the point is, it's a common theme, a common story, where the founder ends up not gelling completely with all the partners and everything, and then he leaves and eventually possibly starts another company. So that's my story too. I took a break. Went to work for one of my former customers, They sent me to China to do quality control and do product development and product research. And while I was there, I got an itch to make cases again. Part of my mandate while I was there was to help the supplier factories supplying my then employer or my former customer when I had InStroke, to help them to increase their quality and their breadth of case offerings. So that was part of my mandate. So as part of that, I started building cases in my apartment. So we basically cleared out the living room, bought a sewing machine. My then girlfriend, now wife, her mother is a seamstress, and a very good one. And she agreed to help me get started, and she helped me buy the sewing machine, and we laid out patterns. And so we started building cases. But at first, the cases that I made were just cases I wanted to make. They didn't have a customer. They were just me following ideas that I had previously had with InStroke that I had not been able to realize. And then out of that grew what is now JB Cases. So, without going into all the details, our little core team, which I had assembled, it was myself and Karen's mother, and a really good leather worker, a tattoo artist turned leather worker, and another seamstress who was really good. That was my little core team that I had assembled to build these cases. And we ended up inside of a larger facility teaching them how to build better cases, and basically more or less being an R&D arm, and training for a larger group of people. So as things turned out, we ended up having to take over that space. And in order to pay for that space, I created what's now called the Rugged line of cases. And they took off, and they've become super popular. And I think most people will associate us with that line of cases. But the point that I'm making here is that throughout this whole process, I have always maintained that we have a workshop ethic. We're not a factory. Okay, so even though we're in China, and China has a reputation for providing a lot of low cost, low quality goods. China provides a lot of high quality goods too. A lot of people don't know this, but you can get everything in China, from the cheapest plastic crap, something that literally, disintegrates in your hands, an hour after you buy it, to very high quality, world-class manufactured, precision manufactured goods. It really is input, good output. But unfortunately, companies like mine that are producing in China, that are producing goods and have like really small workshops, but they're just in China, are often lumped in with all of the cheap goods that are imported. Okay, so that's just part of how it goes. But again, I'll just reiterate, we do not have a factory. Okay, we have a workshop that just has more people in it. So, as I said, most of our capacity is taken up now with custom orders, which is great, by the way. That's what we like. And dealer orders. And then occasionally we'll squeeze in some cases for ourselves and have some on the wall here. I don't like to have the wall like this. Okay, I prefer that it be nice and full, and that we have a revolving, amount of inventory to satisfy the people who want to buy right away and don't want to wait. However, when I don't have enough people, then that's what has to fall by the wayside, because I have to satisfy the custom orders, and I have to satisfy the back orders, and I have to satisfy the dealer orders. So to that end, we have hired more people. We are in the process of training them. Now, contrary to popular belief, even in China, there's not, 1,000 people on the corner waiting, for every job. And especially in my business, with my sensibilities and my expectations of quality, it's even harder to hire people because we don't want to hire people who only want to push a piece of fabric through a sewing machine the same way for 8 hours a day and then clock out and go home. We have to hire people who can think, who can pay attention and focus, who can switch gears without making mistakes, without being careless. We have to hire people who are attuned to quality, who appreciate quality. And, that's not always an easy thing because these days, a lot of people are just they're not intimately familiar with what real quality is in the making of things. So when we hire people, we have a few different criteria that we try to follow. First of all, will they listen? Are they willing to listen? Are they willing to set aside what they know, what they've trained on, and what they've learned in other factories? Are they willing to set that aside to listen to what we want to do, to the way we do things, and then offer their insight from other factories that will help us to improve what we do without causing disruption? Because a lot of people come in and they want to say, well, you guys are all doing it wrong because, over in XYZ factory, they do this or they do that. And if they come in with an attitude that everything that we are doing is wrong, then they're not compatible with our team. And when they're not compatible with our team decides that they have to go. So basically our process is, after several weeks, say 2 to 4 weeks of a trial period, we ask the team, do you like this person? Can you work with them? How do you feel about them? And so we get their input and we ask the person. We say to them very clearly, what do you think? Do you like the way we do things? Are you compatible with it? Do you feel good about it? And we ask them, we say, look, you don't have to stay. You can leave if you want. But if you stay, then going forward, this is going to be the way we work together. And because of that, it's a harder hiring process than, if you're just hiring someone to push fabric through a sewing machine for 8 hours a day. But the end result is that we end up with a continuation of high quality, well thought out, well done, very protective pool cue cases. So we're not trying to make cases for other things. We're not trying to grow and expand and be a giant factory. We're just trying to maintain a nice small workshop that is secure for our employees so they feel like they have a nice stable place and a pleasant place to work, and that we can continue to produce great products, great cases, cue cases, for our customers. Now, what that means for you guys is the more orders we get, the longer it takes for us to make that order and get it to you. Which brings me to the second part of this, which is shipping. This pandemic has upended shipping in so many ways. So back last year, with countries shutting down, and restrictions and inspections and people just being out because of COVID, it slowed shipping down tremendously. And it made it much more expensive to ship. So we ship in two ways. We ship by air freight, and we ship by ocean freight. We prefer to ship by ocean freight because obviously our costs are less, but it takes far longer to get here. When we ship by air, it's the most expensive way to do it. So we're always looking for the rates that are acceptable to us. Throughout this whole process, we have not raised our prices. Many of our competitors have raised their prices. Now, I can't speak to them. I don't even want to go into that part of it, but I can't speak to the reasoning behind their decisions. But my decision was that we were going to try to weather this and eat as much of the extra cost as we possibly can, just so that we can provide stability for our customers. And we've done that, for the most part. So we have not raised our prices, but I have to let you know that our shipping costs have increased well over 100%. Now, of course, if I say that, it doesn't mean anything to you because, the cost of shipping a case might be $5 and it increased to $10. But that's not how it is, okay? The fact of it is that the cost for us to ship a case by air, there was a bug or something. The cost for us to ship a case by air is north of $50 a case at this point. And as you can imagine, if a case is $250 and 20% of that is being spent on shipping, then it's going to eat into our profit. Now, you might think, okay, great, it's eating into his profit, so what? That's his problem. Well, that would be fine if all it was doing was taking away my profit and I was able to break even. But sometimes, depending on the case, the cost of building the case is pretty close to the net cost that we actually realize after shipping. So basically what I'm trying to say is a lot of the cases are either break even or they're not profitable, and we balance that out. We balance that out with selling cases off the wall, bringing in cases that were made with no customer in mind, which means less labor on our part. Keep in mind that if you order a custom case, let's just say you order a black and green case and you want your name on it and everything, but the only difference is it's got your name on it, right? Well, even that case will generate an extra hour or two in labor for us to get the order ready, to get it over there, to process it the way that we process it over there, to keep everything straight, as opposed to just ordering a black and green case, us putting that in and saying, build us a black and green case. A case that's already standard and everything like that. So you can understand that our costs are different on those two scenarios. Now, of course, we can and we should and we will get more efficient with the way we do a lot of those things. But for right now, that's the way it is. So we are competing with much larger companies. We are a small company. Contrary to popular belief, I know there's people out there who think that we're millionaires and we're living the high life, and we're just raking it in. And I've heard people say all kinds of things about us that are speculative and not true. Some of it's complimentary, where people just they believe that we are way bigger than we actually are. And that's just part of it. People are always going to speculate, but the real fact of it is that we're a tiny company. And because we're a tiny company, it puts us at the very bottom of the importance list for shippers, because they have to satisfy bigger companies. And the bigger companies are even actually bidding on the shipping prices, which drives the prices up. So we have to accept whatever the daily prices are for shipping, because those prices are not in any way influenceable by us. We're riders basically. So the things that are hard for us right now is just even getting space. So when we ship air freight, for example, we have to ship several boxes. We have to ship, enough to fill up a pallet, for example. But we're even limited on that. We're only allowed to put 2 boxes into shipping, air shipping, each day at this point. So I hope that you can kind of see what we're going through as a company. Now people will say, well, that's a good problem to have. You're at capacity, and things are humming along with your production and so on. So, what are you complaining about? So I'm not complaining about that, but I just want you to understand that there are factors that are way above us and beyond our control, factors that are affecting, much larger companies. You go into any store these days, go to Walmart, go to Best Buy, a lot of these places, and you're going to see empty shelves, despite the fact that more stuff is coming into the country than ever before, but it's all clogged up at the ports because the ports are just overwhelmed. And there's less container capacity in China to fill up. So people are scrambling over there just to get the available containers. It's really weird. And if you track the history of shipping, you'll see this. But the bottom line is, between us and you, it just makes everything longer to get it. Okay? So from the time you order till the time you get your case could be up to 4 months now. And a chunk of that, a significant chunk of that, maybe a month, might just be the shipping. The case might actually be done and we ship it, and then at the moment we put it in the shipper's hands, it's really out of our control until we get it. So our process is, we build your case, we ship it over here, then we send it out, we inspect it here, and then we send it out. And as you, those of you who are our custom case orders know, there's a process. There's several different checks throughout the process, several different verifications where we send you pictures, we say, how are we doing, making sure that everything's on the right track. You've got your case in your mind. It's the only case you're thinking about from us, whereas we are thinking about over 200 cases at a time. So we ask you to verify those things, and make sure they're right, because none of us wants to build a whole case, ship it all the way over here, wait the extra month, for the shipping clog to resolve, to get to you, and then find out there's a detail wrong, right? So I would like to ask you guys for your continued patience, and I would ask you for extra diligence when you get the update emails from us, when you get the information, looking at the case, making sure we're doing it right, so that you can help us to make the case that you ordered exactly as you ordered it. All right? And that's basically it. So once again, I thank you guys. I cannot express my gratitude enough to you for your continued support. And I don't know, I don't know how else to say it except just to say thank you. And please have patience with us and know that we're doing everything we can to make it worth the wait, so that when you finally get the case in your hands, that any frustration you felt about the extra time it might have taken to get it is completely washed away, because now you've got a case that you're going to enjoy for as long as you want to use it, for a lifetime. And hopefully it lasts a lifetime. But if there's anything obviously that breaks on it that shouldn't break, you've got a lifetime warranty. and we'll make it right and we'll take care of it for you. But we want to make sure that that moment when you get it in your hands, you're completely happy with it, and you know that you're really holding a quality product. So thank you, and there you go. Everybody take care and have a great day, and play well. Bye-bye.